Good morning, everybody. Let's call to order the meeting of the ESS Coordinating Committee as of July 8th. Do you gonna take roll call? Do you want us to say our names, or what would be the easiest way for?
I think we've got a good list and a participant list that we can go from. So I think we can not have to do the roll call today. So thank you, everybody.
So then we'll just move on to the next item, which is the temporary redaction process authorization.
Okay.
Is there any discussion?
I
Phil,
would
you want to start us off?
Yeah, I would just give a quick update. Hopefully the memo is self-explanatory. It follows a very similar pattern to what we described in the email prior to the July 4th holiday. There are a couple of updates I can share, but in another sense, I don't really have an update. I did reach out to Trey Pickett with CSI, now Tyler Technologies, this morning to see if he had an update. Where we left off in our conversation is that he was going to be working with the IT team at Tyler Technologies to identify a process for basically rebuilding their platform. So the issue that they described to me is that there was suspicious activity in the software that CSI operates to implement their redaction service. It really hadn't changed for some time, and basically, as a result of the acquisition of CSI by Tyler Technologies, the Tyler Technologies team began to for lack of a better word, take over the supporting technology for the CSI redaction service. As a part of that transition, and I may be oversimplifying this, but as a part of that transition, Tyler Technologies began to, I guess, test or investigate the new software, which they were now responsible for, even though it's not really new, but they're responsible for it now. They began to examine it, and they found some activity on it that was they deemed to be suspicious or unknown, and out of, I guess, an abundance of caution, they made a unilateral decision to just simply stop their services. This did not just affect Iowa, it affected all of the CSI clients, I am told. And we were not consulted in advance. They just did it. And we did not hear from anybody at Tyler Technologies directly. We heard it from the people that we have typically worked with at CSI, and one of the principals there is a gentleman by the name of Trey Pickett, who was with the original team at CSI. In fact, most of the team at CSI that actually implements the service is still there and providing the service. But we heard from Trey Pickett, and he's the one that passed the news on to us that they were temporarily ceasing to implement services. In conference with them, they were looking at a choice of either investigating more deeply the issues that were being observed, even though we don't really know what they were observing, and trying to rebuild, or I should say, correct whatever the issue was with the existing system, or they were looking at an alternative of just taking the software and moving it to an entirely different platform, probably a newer technology platform. And they were going to consider doing that. I do not know what decision they made, but and I'm still waiting for an update. What we do know is, and part of this is just from our past experience, that we should not have any expectation that they're going to have everything fixed and up and running in the next day or two or week or two. It could take them some time to work through this. CSI has been a very good technology partner with us for more than a decade. We don't have any issues with the service they were providing. And then even though they have observed some suspicious activity on their system, we haven't seen any evidence of that in the Owl Land Record system. That we've observed no suspicious activity, nothing that would cause us to think that we had been uh, 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 what's the word I'm looking for? Compromised in any way. And part of that is because our integration with CSI is fairly simple. And it's this. We have an API. We provide the API to them. They periodically make a call to our system. They have secure credentials that we provide them. They make a call, and basically the call says, hey, do you have any documents ready for us to process? And the answer is yes. Then they download the records into their system, and then they process them locally on their system. And then in turn, they when they are ready, then they have the ability to return those documents to us in the same API. And it has worked very smoothly for a number of years. There are some who would say they wished our systems together worked more quickly, but they have worked successfully. So now we're faced with a situation where, without any planning, they've stopped services, and we have a legal responsibility under our law to check and then redact any PII before we post anything on our website. I'm oversimplifying that a little bit, but that's basically what our law says. So the question is, what are we going to do about that? And if we don't do anything, then we're really not fulfilling our public mission, and that is to provide access to records in a timely way. And that is just because we've written our software such that it is dependent upon that workflow with the API, that when a document is returned to us, if it has a status of check for redaction, meaning that it was inspected but no PII was found, or if a document has been redacted and has a status of redacted, in either of those situations, we will then make the clean document, the non-redacted documents, accessible to the public, and we would make the redacted document, the redacted version of the document, insert that into our database and make that public. That's just the way the system has worked. So when that part of the redaction process is not working, there's no inflow of records into the ILR publish image repository. And so when you go and perform a search on the Owl Land Record system, you will find the record. That is, you'll find the index information because we make that information immediately public, but you're going to see that grayed out type of an image that says, we have the document, but it's not available. And if we don't do anything, those are just going to accumulate, and there'll be a lot of index searching, but no document viewing for some time. So to try to continue our service and still fulfill our public mandate, we have devised a workflow that will allow us to manually redact those documents. It is a permanent redaction. It's not a masking or anything that somebody could hack or uncover. We continue to use the blackout redaction methodology, and the software that we're using is inherent within the Adobe Acrobat software, which is sort of the main software that people use to handle PDF documents. So that's what we're going to be doing. And from a user perspective, once we get this started again, things will be very transparent. Images are going to be accessible. And the only images that will not be accessible are the ones that have been marked to remove from public access until they're redacted. And that's something that our team will be doing based on the information provided to us by recorders. The good news is that in today's era, we just don't have many documents proportionately that are inclusive of PII. And because of that, it seems like, at least for a temporary period of time, it will be within our administrative team's capacity to perform those redactions and get them back out to the public as soon as we can. And we don't have a better idea at this moment in time about how to do that, but we think this will be workable, at least for a short period of time. Then the other update I have for you is that we have taken steps to inform our users. So last week we did send a notification to all registered users about what the situation was. We reminded them of what the public policy is and what our law requires, and we indicated to them that we were working on an alternative. So we gave early notice to our user base last week. Then I have also provided notice to each of our primary stakeholder groups, the Bar Association, our land title, run down the list. They've all been notified of what the situation is, and not only what the situation is, but what our plan is. And then, obviously, we have notified recorders of this as well. The next step that we have done this morning is that Nick Lanning, working with Census and Bob Rafferty, has notified the legislative leadership and the legislative liaison for the governor's office of the situation. All of the background narrative that I've just shared with you has been provided to them in written form as well as by email to the majority and minority party leaders, the local government chairs, as well as the governor's office, so that they know what's going on. And we have asked them for any input or comment that they may have in the event that they have a concern. So at this moment in time, we have not received any concerns or objections from any of the policymakers that might care about PII and the handling of documents that are posted on the web. So having described that to you and then sort of given a preliminary informal poll, if you will, of some of the members of the governing committee, we have called this meeting to ask for your formal approval of implementing this alternative temporary redaction process. So I'll stop there and happy to answer any questions from the members of the committee. Those of you who are participating virtually, if you would like to ask a question through the chat pod, please feel free to do so. That's all I have at this time.
Okay. Phil, I do have a question. I know that you have cautioned recorders against doing their own manual redactions. Can you kind of explain why how that affects Iowa land records so that those newer recorders that might be listening
Sure.
have an idea of why that's?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a commendable and natural instinct to say, well, hey, I'll just take care of that myself. But to be honest, the reason we have a centralized redaction system is because we wanted to have it applied consistently across all counties. And the reason we're set up this way, at least the way we set it up, that we're still implementing, is because our governing committees and everybody agree that we really should just have one system and not 99 separate systems. So through the standard subcommittee and then you as the ESS coordinating committee, you have adapted a policy on what is PII and what should be redacted. And that is the policy that we are implementing. So things like, consistently defining what a bank account number is, or consistently defining how certain social security numbers are to be handled, or federal ID numbers, or even alien registration numbers, things that may not happen that often, but they do show up in records from time to time. We have a consistent policy and a consistent method of redaction, and our team deals with redaction and PII all the time. It's just a part of our normal process. We've set up a system within the search application that allows users, including recorders and public users, to notify us if they find any PII so that we can, if for whatever reason it was missed, we can take care of it. Um, so I think one of the points underscore why you have an Iowa land record system is that you do not have to do it 99 different ways. And when we complete our process, then it's available for the counties to pull into their system as a redacted document. And I think it has proven to work pretty well, and there just isn't any reason, even in this alternative, for anybody to do it separately, because we have the experience and the rules already set up to take care of it. So that's the rationale I would give you. If people start doing their independent redactions, then the question is, well, what are we going to do with that? And it's just easier for everybody if we keep it consistent. We want people to notify us for sure. Even if a recorder is unsure if something is PII or not, we want them to notify us until we have a more permanent fix, because we'll be able to make a determination maybe more easily than they would about is something really PII or not under our law.
Okay. Thank you. Any further discussion?
I have a quick question. Do we need to be concerned that Tyler never reached out to us about any of this? I know you said that there was communication with CSI, but since Tyler has acquired them, is that alarming to anyone else or?
Um, I can't say that I was alarmed by the acquisition of CSI by Tyler Technologies. They're two private companies, and that sometimes happens in the marketplace. So I will say to you that it would have been nice if somebody at Tyler Technologies that we worked with would have reached out to us to communicate not only now, but also when they originally acquired CSI. Um, but they have chosen to use the CSI legacy team to do that communication. As a part of my discussion with Trey Pickett, one of the things that I asked him was, we would like to have a person in Tyler to directly communicate with as we go forward in handling this. I have not received a reply to that request, but we will repeat that request as we go forward, Lindsay. I think it's a very good question. You might ask me, well, how did the idea of internalizing redaction of PII come about or get included in the modernization list that I've shared with you all a number of times? And one of the main reasons was we're looking for ways that we can economize and save money. I won't deny to you, though, that when the acquisition occurred, it caused us some pause and said, we aren't sure what's going to happen in the future. Maybe we should be more seriously looking at alternatives. So that is an issue that did cross our mind. Budget is still paramount, but when those acquisitions occur, you ask yourself, okay, what should I be doing? It's no different than when other acquisitions occur. we were uncertain a little bit about what happened with the acquisition of COT. And so you don't know. At this point in time, I feel pretty good about COT because their team has proven to be knowledgeable and has been working with us on implementing the updated API. And I would have to say, anytime that happens and you've seen that solution as a long-time service provider now was been acquired by Harris Technologies, so far that has been a good transition. The people that we've worked with to implement the new API for e-submission at the Solutions Harris team has demonstrated that they are capable, and in fact, Solutions was the first company to implement the new API. So you never know for sure, and it definitely is worth asking questions. And I think Lindsay, I hope you feel like we've followed up appropriately in those cases, and we will continue to do so in this case as well.
Absolutely. I'm not denying that at all. And I appreciate the follow-up. My only concern, like I said, was that it didn't come from Tyler directly. It came from the, CSI. Along those same lines, is there, I'm getting a little feedback. Is there any talk about any payment reimbursement? Because obviously we're paying for a service that we're not getting.
Yeah, well, one thing for
another
sure.
concern.
Yeah, one thing for sure is we're not paying them. We're not going to pay them for work that they don't do. So, and I think there is probably going to be some cleanup work that we're going to have to do if the integration is reestablished, and we're going to expect some consideration for the work and effort that they have caused because they made this decision. I don't want to be punitive from the standpoint of, what if there really was an issue? Would we have wanted them to just keep going along and not do anything about it? That could have been a lot worse. So I think what we're going to do is be reasoned and deliberate in communicating with them as we go forward. And I will share with you that I was very straight up with Trey when I talked to him that, this is potentially an issue that could cause us to change direction, and he acknowledged that. So far, they're doing the right thing. I think they should do it a little bit better by having somebody from Tyler communicate with us directly, and that's what we're going to be asking for. So I'm with you on that question. I just don't know what the solution is going to be, but we'll have those conversations for sure.
Hey, Bill, is there
Lindsay,
a written contract that we've entered into with CSI that would cover anything like this?
There's nothing in the other in the contract other than we do have the ability to terminate services, and we we are not. There's nothing in the contract that requires us to pay them if they're not delivering services. There's nothing specifically in the agreement that says that that we would penalize them if certain things occur. Maybe that's something that we should consider going forward, but there's nothing really in there that feels like that. And for 15 years, we really haven't had to worry about that. But we're not going to pay them for things that they don't do. I can assure you of, because the contract does provide payment for services delivered, and we pay them in arrears. So if they're not doing it, then we're not going to pay them.
Thank you.
Lisa says CSI is paid monthly based on documents processed.
Right.
Helps that conversation.
Right. The other thing I would say, just as a technical point, is that they bill us separately for back file versus forward file documents. So there are so many documents that maybe a county sends in older records, we'll get them redacted. That's a separate line item on their bill. So we treat those issues separately. Just FYI.
Okay. All right. Is there any other questions or any other further discussion?
So I have a quick comment, if that's okay. I know I'm not on the committee, but
Sure.
okay. I guess one of the things I looked for in a vendor for criteria was redaction services. So I guess I don't understand why we're limiting what we can and can't do with our own vendors when we already have that service and we're paying for that service. I don't also understand why we're not trusted to redact those documents ourselves.
Well, it's not a matter of trust. It's more a matter of practicality. I mean, there's evidence all abound that shows that, you know, unless there's some consistency in service, there will be variability. And the thing is that our land records is a group endeavor, okay? And ESS is a group endeavor. And the group that is responsible for making sure that redaction is performed correctly is ESS, not the individual county, because it's an ESS website. Okay.
But those documents are our responsibility, not the committee's, right?
Once they're in the, I'm gonna say it, once they're in the hands of ESS, the organization, they're the ESS responsibility. And I would tell you that my advice to the governing board of the ESS committee would be that if you started doing redaction, I still go ahead, but I still want you to send the original, unaltered, unredacted document to our land records because we're the ones that would have the responsibility for anything posted on the web, not the county. Now, if as a county, you know, you provide records to Fiddler and Fiddler posts them in their Laredo website, okay, go ahead and do that if that's what you want to do for their website. But this is the collective website, and the organization is responsible for what goes on the website. And I would simply just not recommend, they might disagree with me, but I would not recommend that the ESS committee, you know, just allow for individual recorders to do this because of known lack of consistency. Not that anybody's good or bad, but you know, if you're going to be responsible for it, I think you want to be responsible for it 100%, not part way. You may disagree with that. I respect your opinion on that, but that would be the position I would recommend to the governing board.
Yeah, I guess as an elected official, our responsibility is for these documents in our office. So I'm not comfortable sending clean, unredacted images to anyone outside of my office. I think that's my responsibility. And since I have a program that already does that for me, plus we look at those documents when we index and audit.
Renee, I don't know why you're paying for that. You don't have to, because we do the process for you, and all your service provider would have to do is recover them after we're done processing them. So I would turn the question around to you to say, why are you double paying for something that we're already doing for you? And I'm gonna go maybe a little further than I should and say, each county has an obligation under policy established by the ESS committee, and I would stipulate also required by law that you provide the ESS system with unaltered, unredacted documents, just like you would provide to anybody else who came in off the street and asked for a flash drive and said, hey, I want a copy of your records. They aren't going to ask you for a redacted version. They want the original unaltered version, and so do we.
I wouldn't necessarily give everyone unredacted images. That's what's the purpose of redacting then, I guess. Second of all, I don't pay for it extra. It comes in the package as a criteria that I looked for in a vendor. And again, I guess it should be up to the counties how we want to redact images, not the ESS or governing board or bylaw or anything. So just my opinion.
Yep, and I respectfully disagree with you because my responsibility is to ESS as an organization. So,
I guess I would ask everyone to think about, are we for local control or not for local control then? Because we have the Iowa code and then we have our own policy that restricts us from following Iowa code. So which is it? Are we for local control or not? I just would ask people to think about that as we move forward.
I'm for local control, but I'm also for being a responsible steward of the resources of this system. Are there any other questions or comments?
So Phil, just so I understand, is it currently in the ESS policies that we send an unredacted
Yes, it
form?
is.
Okay.
I don't have it
just
right
wanted
in
to make
front of
sure.
me, but I would be happy to provide the committee with a copy of the policy.
No, I'm not Travis. I don't know the code and all of the policies by heart. I would have to go search it, so I would rather ask the
I'll be
person.
happy to follow up with the committee on that, just
Okay.
to verify it.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Okay. Hearing none. Do we need a motion to approve the temporary alternative redaction process? Do I have a motion to approve?
This is Dylan. I'll
This
make
is
that.
Lindsay.
Okay, I believe Dylan made the motion and Lindsay second.
That's fine.
Is that fine? Okay. So I have a motion and a second to approve the temporary alternative redaction process. All those in favor say aye.
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 I'm waiting for the. Okay. All those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carried.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your allowing us to have this special meeting so that we can move forward timely. And we'll see you in August, and some of you I will see sooner.
Can I ask a quick question before everyone leaves? I'm sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that we've adopted this temporary process, will it be communicated to all the recorders what we need to do? You know, will the records be available on ILR now, and it's up to us to let you know, the ILR, if we find something that needs to be redacted? I just want to make sure that next steps after the policy got adopted.
Thank you for asking that, and the
Yeah.
answer is yes to all of the above.
Okay.
And in fact, we're planning to, we haven't got this organized yet, but
Okay.
we're intending to pull together a webinar, which we will record. We're planning to do that on Wednesday afternoon. And the purpose of that is we're going to be directed specifically at recorders to say, okay, here's what you need to do.
Okay.
We'll inform them that the new process will make the records available to the public, and that they do have that responsibility with respect to notification,
Okay.
so that we can perform the appropriate redaction. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know how
Thank
many
you.
questions you had, but that's all yes. And then we're going to be sending out communication to the registered users as well, probably in the form of a singular topic newsletter type update to make sure that they get the same information.
Hey, Stacy, it's Lisa. There was an email sent last week with some preliminary information, and I know it was a holiday week, so you might have missed it. I can certainly forward it to you or any other committee member who wants it.
Okay.
That was done on Tuesday afternoon. Is that right, everybody? It was right around 4 o'clock. I remember when I got it out the door.
So Melissa's asked a question in the chat pod, which I will be happy to answer as well. and that is when will the images be available? Basically, what our intention is to have you process your documents during the course of an ordinary business day, and then at the end of the business day, we will ask everybody to notify us by the end of the business that day if they identified any documents with PII. Then our intention would be to implement the redaction process and to make available all of the records the next morning. So in some cases, you may actually see images available sooner than the current system because we're of the procedure we have to follow in order to do the redaction. So we want to be cautious about that. You know, we don't want to leave unredacted records hanging out there. It's got to be for a short time, and recorders are going to need to be vigilant about letting us know right away. That's probably the most important thing in the whole process is timely communication from recorders to us about anything that they find. And then if we can do that, then we can fulfill our public purposes and protect against the publication of PII. So that's generally how it will work, Melissa. We have a few final points to work on with regard to the exact timing, but that's generally the way it's going to be. Do your stuff during the day, end of business day, send us the notification, then we do our thing first thing the next morning, and then they become public.
Great.
If we can just have that in the communication that goes out again, I would
Yep.
appreciate
Yeah,
that.
and we'll cover that in the webinar too, Lindsay. Thank you.
Did you
Another
see
another
Melissa?
day in the life here.
What'd you say, Lindsay? Did you say?
Yeah,
Did everybody see Melissa's last comment? So recorders
Mhm.
still have 3 business days to send, and when they would send their records, then they could notify you once the record is sent, or do you want to know before?
I think, you know, the time to notify us is when they send them to us,
Okay,
Right.
whenever that is.
Okay.
So whatever you send to us that day, that business day, whatever you sent to us, tell us what you found. And the 3-day window really doesn't apply here. It's when you transmit the records to us, that's when we want to know.
okay.
Hey, Lindsay, take a look at the email that I sent. I think it was end of day on Tuesday that sort of had the beginning of this is the information that we're going to be looking for. We've revised it a little bit since then, but if you take a look at that now, I think that will give you an idea. And it was either Tuesday or Wednesday towards the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. I just want to
Mhm.
make sure that that is re-communicated to
Oh,
everyone when
yep.
it gets sent out again, if that's what I was requesting.
Yeah.
100% we're on that.
We'll have a step-by-step process so that it decreases the amount of confusion that people might have from doing it.
Good idea. Good idea.
There was much discussion among the ILR team this morning.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get through this just like we do everything else. So if there's no further discussion, we will adjourn. See everybody on the 15th.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Have a
Thank
good
Thank
day.
you.
Bye.